Look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Trustworthy. It was supposed to be a night of lights, music, and color. A sold-out Coldplay concert in Boston filled with energy, emotion, and the resonant voices of thousands of hearts. But contrasted with Andy Byron, CEO of a $1.3 billion tech company, and Chris Cat, his HR director, that night was the beginning of a dream that neither of them had experienced before. Just as Chris Martin stepped onto the stage, the Kiss Cam, the beloved symbol of every concert, began to gently roll across the stage. Just a crowd pleaser. This is not time. The camera zoomed in on the two mirrors. Andy, Byron, and Kat, and the world was a proof. An unmistakable hug. Hands clasped, Gmail's gaze locked, arms around each other as if they care about no one else. A moment of resolution. And a scandal that exploded across the internet. Byron ducked his head, trying to hide from the frame, and Kat covered her face with both hands, turning away as if to hide her affair. The audience erupted, not because of the song, but because of an unexpected moment. Chris Martin, the lead singer, tried to keep the mood light and dropped a joke that would become an immortal meme. Yeah, oh, look at these two. That line, and that moment was captured by thousands of phones. Less than a few hours later, the internet exploded. TikTok was flooded with eye gaze analysis clips. Twitter or X exploded with thousands of threads. Reddit discussed each frame. YouTube was flooded with reactions and even T-shirts with their faces on them made by fans. But this, it's no longer a CEO and a female HR director caught on Kiss Cam. This is a digital showdown. One commenter sarcastically wrote, "The divorce rate at Coldplay concerts is extremely low, but not zero." A seemingly innocuous moment that ruined a $1.3 billion company, and the worst. It hasn't even begun. As the video was still burning across platforms, a screenshot began to circulate. It was an apology purportedly from Andy Byron himself. The text looked polished, and seemed so sincere, it was almost poetic. He talked about his privacy being violated, about his indescribable pain, and ended with a quote from Coldplay. "Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you." It was touching, emotional, almost too perfect to be true. And it wasn't. The statement didn't come from Byron. It was made by a satirical account on Platform X calling itself CBS News. The problem was there was no reporter by that name. And the apology, it was a hoax. But on the internet, the truth is not as important as the spread. The damage has been done, and it is not over yet. Just a few days later, another apology appeared. This time also from Byron, at least online. In that second statement, he wrote, "I have no regrets. I just wish Coldplay would come back to making good music like before." If the first apology left people speechless with shame, this time the whole internet laughed. From bewilderment to absurdity, the scandal has become a dark comedy. TikTokers began creating a series of satirical clips. One even re-edited the video with the line, "He didn't just lose his wife, he lost the plot of his life." The internet was in collective meltdown mode. But at that moment, a woman's silence was louder than all the laughter. Megan Carayon, the wife, or rather ex-wife, of Andy Byron. Social media users quickly discovered she had quietly deleted Byron from her name on Facebook. No more Megan Byron, just Megan Carayon. And then not long after, the Facebook account disappeared completely. Instagram also deleted. And suddenly, a moment that was once laughed at on a concert stage became a delicate, cruel, and honest tragedy. The internet turned. Comments flooded in under the posts. Support Megan. Honor Megan. Sorrow with Megan. One tweet, which received over 100,000 likes, read, "The real queen. Call your divorce lawyer and bring your designer bag. No press conference needed. No tears needed. Just a quiet act." It was enough to turn the world on its side. And behind the scenes, the truth slowly emerged. Andy Byron was no unknown. He was the CEO of Astronomer, a famous data company in the technology industry worth $1 billion. Top since 2023. Andy Byron is no ordinary CEO. He was once hailed as a steel-cold strategist who turned lines of code into gold. But now he's a meme, a laughingstock, the face of the worst PR disaster of 2025. And Chris Tristancat, she's no outsider in the tech world. A Silicon Valley veteran, Chris has been celebrated for his leadership skills, building a positive culture and building trust. Ironically, the man who once preached work ethics is now at the center of a scandal that directly relates to the values she's supposed to uphold. Byron, still married, 2 kids, but Kat has reportedly been divorced since 2022. Nothing has been confirmed, but the rumor mill was officially overloaded. One TikTok user summed it up succinctly. No one would react like that on camera if there was nothing between them. Another viral video quipped, would she now lead a meeting about workplace misconduct with herself? But this was no longer a public scandal. It was a covert purge. Former employees of Astronomer, where Byron once served as CEO, began speaking out. Whispers in the hallway turned into explicit accusations. Subtweets, screenshots, leaked messages. Allegations of Byron's toxic behavior resurfaced, like old wounds being scratched open. A former employee wrote in a private chat group, "Karma is real. We warned about him years ago." Those complaints were once dismissed because Byron was always called a decisive and effective leader. But now that story is collapsing. After the social media storm, the homepage of the billion-dollar company Astronomer is completely silent. Not a single update. Their LinkedIn is frozen, and Byron's LinkedIn account deactivated. No press release, no apology, no defense from Byron, not a word from Kat, just dead silence. And ironically, that silence says it all. Meanwhile, back at the Coldplay concert, Chris Martin seems to be starting to understand that this is far more than a kiss cam prank. Reports say he's nervous, uneasy when he sees a video going viral before the concert has even ended. Before the encore began, Chris Martin awkwardly said into the mic, "Oh my gosh, I hope we didn't do anything bad, but it looks like it's too late." Too late indeed. The internet gave the disaster a name, Coldplaygate. The keyword exploded everywhere. Google searches for Astronomer CEO's wife skyrocketed. The hashtags #Coldplaygate and #KissHimScandal trended worldwide within hours. Even Elon Musk got in on the act, tweeting, "Lie by the algorithm, die by the algorithm." And that's exactly what happened. Just 30 seconds on the big screen. A kiss, seemingly innocent, created a domino effect. A tech company goes under. A marriage breaks up. 2 people who were once the golden faces of the industry suddenly became global icons of shame. It wasn't leaked emails. It wasn't internal documents. No whistleblower. It just had a camera, a crowd, and a fateful zoom. As of this writing, no official updates, no confirmation, no internal reports, no explanation from Astronomer. Their silence now feels less like a crisis strategy, more like a survival reflex. As the media storm dies down, the internet is left with one burning question. Was it all just a misunderstanding? Or is Coldplay's Kiss Cam the unexpected tech whistleblower? Because in 2025, the biggest nightmare doesn't start in a boardroom. It starts in a stadium, a camera, and 60,000 pairs of eyes watching you in 4K. And then amid the whirlwind of memes, analysis, and ridicule, what really shook the public was speed. The speed with which a single public moment, a hug, a glance, a hesitant kiss, can obliterate a leadership image painstakingly built over years. In a world where CEOs are carefully trained to say every word, where corporations spend millions on reputation management, all in 30 seconds. A moment projected onto a giant screen in front of thousands of people, broadcast globally. And the entire Andy Byron image, the exemplary tech leader, collapsed under its own weight. Astronomer was once considered the shining jewel of the SaaS industry, a rising icon of data analytics and predictive AI. But they're not just known for their innovative technology. They're also known for an entire ideology that revolves around one man, a CEO, an icon, a golden face. Now that face is just a meme, a valuable lesson in an era where reputation can go up in flames with just a zoom. Throughout his career, Andy Byron has been regularly lauded by the media. Business magazines have called him a data genius, the mastermind behind Astronomer's meteoric rise. Names like Data Whisperer, the living algorithm, have been tossed around. But behind the scenes, those who work with him tell a different story. Former employees began sharing anonymously on platforms like Blind and Reddit. They described a toxic work environment, autocratic leadership, and a company culture paralyzed by fear. He micromanages every single thing. One wrote, "He's addicted to control and cares more about image than people." Another bitterly recounted, "This is the same guy who made us rehearse our demo 19 times just to prepare for a client call that lasted 10 minutes. And now he's hiding under the stadium seats, his hands clasped with the head of HR." These posts quickly went viral, and then the mainstream media got involved. Old Glassdoor reviews were unearthed, and this time they were read differently. One review from 2023 warned, "Astronomer looks great on the outside, but inside it's built on fear and burnout." Another review made a vague reference to inappropriate closeness in senior management. At the time, it was all dismissed as baseless rumors, but now they suddenly seemed chillingly prescient. As the scandal spread, so did the temperature inside Astronomer. According to sources close to the matter, the board held an emergency meeting. There was no official statement, but what leaked out was growing. Concern about Byron's leadership. While Astronomer was straining to contain the scandal, competitors began to take action. A series of startups in the same field suddenly posted on social media about the importance of ethical leadership and clear boundaries in the workplace. No names, but everyone knew who they were talking about. Amidst these subtle attacks, another question began to haunt the online community. Why were they sitting next to each other in the first place? Most Coldplay concerts have seating sections, especially VIP sections for high-ranking guests. Byron and Kat didn't just appear in the same row. They sat close together, too close to be considered a coincidence. Some thought they came together. Others thought it was a coincidence. But TikTok wouldn't let it go. A slew of self-proclaimed body language experts jumped into analyzing every frame of the video. From the glances exchanged to light touches to Byron's iconic bow and disappear, every detail was dissected. One viral video analysis claimed the moment he saw himself on the big screen was the moment he panicked. And no, that wasn't the reaction of someone who was just surprised. It was a reaction of someone who knew he'd been caught red-handed. But the fallout isn't just a broken marriage. It's not just a collapse of a prestigious tech company. For many viewers, it's a painfully familiar story. A CEO, a subordinate, a relationship rife with ambiguity and power imbalances. The incident has sparked a series of discussions about workplace ethics, about abuse of power in the tech industry, where blurred lines have become part of the culture and power has long gone unchecked. HR experts and internal consultants are asking the key question. If there was a relationship between Byron and Kat, it's a serious problem, especially since Kat is the head of HR. When a head of HR is part of a scandal, it's not just a cut, it's a loss of trust, commented a LinkedIn expert. She should be protecting the employees, not protecting the CEO. And the most worrying thing are the silent questions the scandal leaves. Did anyone know? Were there whispers? Did anyone speak up? And were they ignored? If an office romance is happening right under the noses of the leadership, then what else is being overlooked? A journalist from Business Insider wrote a shocking report. From data science to drama, when big tech forgets the cameras are always on. The article ended with a haunting quote. When your brand is built on trust, it only takes one moment of betrayal to destroy it all. As the public continued to boil, fake and parody accounts kept updating the situation. One viral tweet claimed, "Byron and Kat have escaped on a Coldplay-themed yacht." Another joked, "Megan is now being offered a starring role in Netflix's new documentary, Unkissed." Coldplay cam confession. Satirical content began to become a self-healing mechanism for an online community that couldn't believe it was witnessing a TV series in 4K resolution in real life. Even the late-night shows didn't miss the opportunity. Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show pretended to worry that Chris Martin was stuck in an endless apology loop, as the lyrics to Fix You put it. Saturday Night Live even staged a skit where a Coldplay concert turned into an internal tech company trial. And it was official. The Byron Kat scandal had escaped the confines of tech Twitter and entered popular culture. While everyone else was talking, joking, and mocking, Astronomer remained absolutely silent. And that silence was the loudest statement of all. A few industry sources leaked Byron had been placed on temporary administrative leave pending an internal review, but no one confirmed it. Kat's social media account still locked. The company's official website, Byron's bio was wiped clean, but everything else was left intact. And then the rumors began to spread. Rumors of an impending decision, a final choice, a resignation. A week after the concert, a vague update appeared on an anonymous tech blog. Accordingly, the Astronomer Board of Directors had accepted a resignation from the board, but it was unclear whether Byron left voluntarily or was forced out. If true, it would be a classic fall from grace for the man who once brazenly declared, "I'm going to be the Jeff Bezos of data." As the online storm subsided, some people began to move on with their lives. But the damage was done. Trust once lost is hard to regain. For Astronomer, it could take years. For Byron, it could be forever. And for Megan, the woman, chose silence in the midst of the storm. And that silence became the most powerful statement. She didn't cry on camera, no hundreds of words, no need to speak up to make the world listen. She has become a symbol of dignity in silence. There's a strange irony in all this because just minutes after the infamous kiss cam moment, Coldplay's Fix You blared from the stage. When you try your best, but you don't succeed. When you get what you want, but not what you need. Now the lyrics resonate like a belated prophecy. Because in this tangled story of love, power, and live shame, no one really gets what they want. Not the fans who just want a good night of music. Not the company that hopes for calm. Not the CEO who thinks he can hide everything under the spotlight. And certainly not a woman who discovered her marriage was falling apart on a giant screen in front of tens of thousands of strangers. So what can we learn from Coldplay Gate? Perhaps it's as simple as this. In the digital age, no moment is truly private. And when a brand, whether personal or professional, is built on image, all it takes is a split second of inattention for an empire to collapse. Because sometimes a camera doesn't just record the moment, it also records the consequences. If you find this story interesting, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next interesting stories. Thanks for watching.